All right, and hope we're all having a good day today. Um, this is a part two in the Mormon series we're doing with Alex. Also, Athanasius, his account on YouTube, which
Yeah,
I
so Orthodox. I think it's OrthodoxAL. That's the
okay, cool.
YouTube.
I'll leave that link on the comment section. But today we're gonna get into some of the Freemason stuff that the LDS Church committed, especially led by its earlier prophets when we were at the prime form or the true form of LDS. Really, what we're seeing today is a watered down, weird version of what LDS was really meant to be. Right? This is not the LDS of Joseph Smith. This is not the LDS of Brigham Young. This is the LDS of a postmodern adaptation of loosely what those people really taught and believed. Now, we're going to go through a few massacres committed by the Mormon Church, and Alex is going to weigh in on some of the Masonic stuff that this is all really tied to. Now, the first one we want to get into here, let's see, let me share my screen. There you go. All right. So the first one we're dealing with is the Nephi massacre, right? Was 1853 when a group of Mormons invited a group of peace-seeking Goshute Native American men, women, and children, wow, into their fort in Nephi, Utah, and executed the 7 men and took the remaining 3 as prisoners. The settlers were acting in retaliation for the recent deaths of 4 Mormons in the Mountain Green Massacre done by a different nation of Native American called Ute. The settlers were from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS, commonly called Mormons. So this is the restoration of the lost gospel by killing people, children too, and women who are of the same ethnicity. I mean, race. I wouldn't say ethnicity, but are not related to the people that they're seeking revenge to. This is just the average IQ of the Mormons, the Latter-day Saints. Okay, Saints, by the way. Now, obviously, we have the very famous Mountain Meadows massacre. Was a attack from the Nauvoo Legion against people who are just traveling to settle to California. And there were at least 180 members that were killed by the Mormons. Now, let's keep going here. We got the Aiken massacre. Okay, it was a 1857 lynching in central Utah of 5 Californian travelers, reportedly at the order of top leaders in Mormonism's largest denomination, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is Mormonism. The victims were apprehended on trumped-up charges of spying, imprisoned, and then murdered, though 2 escaped with injuries, but were killed 2 days later. This occurred 2 months after the Mountain Meadow massacres and was a part of the impetus for Utah War. So this is just one of the small skirmishes that the Mormons had with other people to fight for land. Okay. So I just don't understand. I thought this land was just promised to them. And then they went over there. They had all this attitude and nobody really cared. And then they just started fighting people. I just thought it was, absolutely hilarious. Last one here, we have the battle at Fort Utah. Okay. Also known as the Provo River Massacre. It's a violent attack and massacre in 1850 in which 90 Mormon militiamen surrounded an encampment of Timpanogos family on the Provo River and raided siege for 2 days. Imagine doing this, bro. Imagine when you are the one that had the more horses, the guns, and you circle a bunch of Indians for 2 days. Okay, they eventually shot between 40 and 100 Native Americans and 1 woman with guns and a cannon. Imagine not even being able to kill a bunch of people with arrows with guns. They need to use cannon, right? During the season, subsequent pursuit, capture, and execution of 2 groups that fled during the last night. 1 militiaman died and 18 were wounded from return fire during the siege. Okay. I mean, this is absolutely cowardice. Like, using cannons to kill a Native American tribe. Oh yeah, it is the order of Brigham Young to the Mormon militia. The same guy who said, what did he say? The shall I tell you the law regarding the African race? If a white man is to mix his seed with the seed of Cain, the penalty of God is death on the spot. And a lot of Mormon are going to cry and say, "Oh, he never said that." But in a second, when I turn the screen off, I will find that quote, and then you guys will stop quote. You don't need to cope on this stuff because this is like not even disputed, even within your own church. So, I mean, this is just disgusting behavior. I mean, why would you kill? I mean, it's just pointless. Okay. Total satanic morons. You want to add anything? I'm going to turn to you, Alex. Okay. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah. Well, go back to I want to go back to the Brigham Young point. If he's making a new revelation based on the race of the African Americans, and putting them down, right? This is a new revelation that
Well,
is
so let
from
me
him as
clarify
a
for you.
prophet.
Let me clarify.
Yeah, 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 go ahead.
So he's always had he believed that the Africans, not African American Africans, the African race, like he said, is the seed of Cain, and he
Yeah,
believed, and then
cursed
their belief
people.
regarding the Native Americans and are their Limonites who are cursed
Yeah,
Jews, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean,
right.
like, I don't know if anybody listening has like a Native American friend who knows like an elder. I would like their take on this.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, that's absurd. And it's like they're rewriting history.
And if I'm not mistaken, you have some stuff regarding the not the massacre, but the temple Masonic stuff you like to
Yeah.
share.
Yeah. So from my knowledge, it was in 1842 where Joseph Smith was initiated as the Master Mason, right?
Mhm.
And so, obviously what is it in Freemasonry that, aligns with what happened or happens in the Mormon temples?
Mm.
So it's like they have oaths. So there's oath of secrecy, right? And this was a thing in the LDS temple endowment until the 1990 revisions because a lot of people were leaving. Let's think. There were special handshakes, right? So this is a big thing in masonry too.
Let me read this to you. On March 15, 1842, Joseph Smith, founder of Mormonism, was initiated and then made a Master Mason
Yeah,
at sight by
yeah, at
the
sight.
Grand Master of Grand Lodge of Illinois. This coincided with the installation of Nauvoo Lodge under special dispensation.
Yeah, dude, it's insane.
I
So
mean,
I mean, what else did they have? I mean, they had aprons, right? They took that. Ceremonial robes.
mhm.
They had the dramatic rituals too. Um, oh, the use of veils.
I mean,
I mean,
let
it
me
goes
show
on
this.
and past the
Let's look at this. I mean, they used to do this cutthroat type of
Yeah, that's
sign
exactly. Yep.
in the temple. This is like the weirdest shit ever. We and each of us covenant and promise that we will not reveal any of the secrets of this. The first token of the Aaronic priesthood, with its accompanying name, sign of penalty. Should we do so, we agree that our throats be cut from ear to ear and our tongues torn out by our roots. This did not stop until the 1980s. I don't think so. This continued for a long time, and this is a part of the blood atonement. Okay, let's here we go. So there are minor cases of mainstream LDS, as they call it, practicing blood atonement. And the deal with blood atonement is that there's sins that are too severe that the blood of Christ will not be able to what do you call it? Will not be able to atone for. So therefore, your blood needs to be used. So,
Right.
and that's why we see. So I don't know if you know, Alex, the Mormon fundamentalist group was split with the mainstream Mormon group from due to the 1980 change in doctrine from the mainstream Mormons.
Right.
So what ended up happening is they were just not happy with the stop on polygamy and the basically to tone down the attempted to tone down Mormon doctrines. So yeah, then there were multiple cases. The guy who split off from the Mormon church, he committed multiple mass murders of people who left the church. And then there's a video online and on my profile too. It's called "Demonic Mormons Murdering" or something. But it was a lady that she and her husband left the church, and her father actually told her brothers to murder her, and
Wow.
they succeeded in murdering her husband. But this is the root of it. I mean, this is Masonic, by the way. The cutting of throats. This is
Yeah,
totally
absolutely.
Masonic. And I found something really interesting here. I know all the groypers, the actual groypers, are going to love. But here we go. Let's go. So let me get the whole screen to be shared. So if we look over here, can you see Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Okay, so the murder of Thomas Coleman in 1866. Thomas Coleman, a former slave who was in good standing as a member of the LDS Church, was murdered. So this is before the FLDS and LDS schism. Okay, so just so you guys know, anytime when these guys come and say that, well, you guys had a schism, so you must be the work of the devil. Like you guys have like 3 or 4 schisms. They have schism of FLDS, they have schism of RLDS, and there's another group that
Yep.
the RLDS became.
Yeah, there's 4 groups, I think.
Well, yeah, now there's more because a lot of them are actually reformed into. I think there's one that reformed into actual like some sort of Christianity. But yeah, so it was a former slave, and he was murdered. As Mormon historian D. Michael Quinn was documented, Coleman was apparently secretly courting a white Mormon woman, contrary to both territorial law and contemporary and Mormon teaching regarding people of African descent. And we're gonna do we're gonna do a big video on this, purely on the racist stuff. At one of their clandestine meeting behind the old arsenal on what is now Capitol Hill in Salt Creek on December 11th, Coleman was discovered by friends of the woman. The group was vigilantes. The group of vigilantes hit Coleman with a large rock. Using his own Bowie knife, his attackers slit his throat so deeply from ear to ear that he was nearly decapitated, as well as slicing open his right breast in what some believe was mimicry of penalties, which are illustrated in the temple ritual. Not all Coleman's wounds were correlated with the temple ritual. However, since he was also castrated, a pre-penciled placard which read, "Notice to all NIGGERs,
Wow.
take warning, leave white women alone," was then pinned to his corpse. Even though it was the middle of winter, a grave was dug and Coleman's body was buried in it. I mean, not to laugh at the murder, by the way. I mean, this is the mainstream LDS church, right? I mean, it's fair to say this is before the schism, 1866.
Yep.
This is the common behaviors of LDS back then.
Yeah, it seems to
And,
be a big. There's a big pattern here of this.
I'll give you some of my own experience too, because many people know I'm not white, and so when I lived within the Mormon family, they were very nice people, by the way. But there's something about like they just I don't know. So because I'm a musician, most people know I'm a musician in a way, and I worked with a white girl. Okay, when we did a lot of duets and stuff for college and performance, and then they were just uncomfortable with me being near her. They're like, okay, are you hanging out with like they would constantly ask me, especially the lady of the house, was like, did you go hang out with like some girls of your own race? I was like, what the fuck does that have to do with shit? It's like because that's like the weirdest shit they just asked me. I mean, by the way, they're super nice people. I just think they were just raised in it, but they came from the area before that stupid stuff went away. Like in the 80s, the curse thing was
Yeah.
not even taken away, even in the 80s, and they went through that, and I understood. I was like, well, I mean, by the way, she's super sweet, but let me stop sharing real quick so you can chime in.
Well, yeah, it's actually funny because there's this thing that I recognize with Mormons, and my grandmother especially, is that, she'll be like, oh, well, we both believe in God and we'll just see who's right and it's whatever, yada, yada. But it's like as soon as you challenge them or anything like that, it's like they shut down or they get super defensive and like passive aggressive in a way where, I'll be like, I was like, well, I think my uncle wants to visit the Orthodox Church. And she's like, oh, like damn near, ready to fall over of a heart attack. And it's like, you're over here saying, oh, we're fine, like, Orthodox, Mormon, whatever, she doesn't care. We all accept Christ. But when it's like, oh, well, he might want to come to my church, she's like, oh, no. And it's like, what is it? What is it with these Mormons where they have to pretend to be nice and they have to just kill you with kindness? Like that's going to somehow.
Oh, was that your grandma commenting?
Yeah, and it's like they
God.
somehow have to like try to prove that their religion is true based on just how they act and being nice. And it's like they don't understand that that's not any sort of justification. Now, that may have tricked you, but to anybody that, looks into Mormonism on a deeper level, they're not going to be so easily convinced. And when you bring up those issues, like even with the Joseph Smith, stories and like the many accounts of his stories, and just all the crazy stuff that happened, it's just like, well, this excuse, that excuse, and it's like it doesn't matter. But we're nice and we don't do any harm to people. But it's like looking back, you did a lot. I mean, your religion, your cult, whatever, did a lot of harm to people, a lot of harm to people. And the form of Mormonism today isn't the same as what it once was, and it's just turned into this giant bowl of stew that's mixed with anything you want to put in it, kind of thing. And when you taste it, it's just disgusting, right? I mean, it really is. It's just relativism.
Yeah, it's nonsense, and then it's funny to see people like what's his name, Jacob Hansen, which is very low tier in his
Very.
approach, just lying about the stuff that Jay accused him of saying. It was no, you guys literally believe that shit. They don't understand that when you say we don't believe that shit, it's irrelevant because we're appealing to what you believed in history. We can give you a doctrine and then you can go ahead and make up excuses and say, oh, we don't actually believe that. But the issue is that if we look at history and at the time of the LDS Church, they all believed it. So that is a accurate reflection of what you actually believe. You don't need to. I mean, this. I don't know. They think that. I think they think that you can just explain things the way that happened in the past according to the story you make up now. That doesn't make any sense. And that's why you see all these pop apologists that are total idiots are starting to quote church fathers. They're like, you understand that Joseph Smith, Brigham Young, none of these people even like were even smart enough to look at this shit. I mean, you're like all of you are smart enough than those doofus. Joseph Smith said that, well, what they originally taught was that the church fell away right after the apostles all died, which
Yeah,
they
but they
didn't
have
even
no
know what the
account.
apostles did.
They have no
So
account of that either. It's just completely arbitrary. I mean, it really
yeah,
is.
I mean, by that, why I don't know. Like, there seems to be a trend. I don't know if it started by Robert Gurr or who, but like, there seems to be a trend with these young Mormons that they think that they can go to church fathers and make the church fathers Mormon. This is like the stupidest shit ever. They did it with the Bible. Now they think, well, we can do the same thing with the church fathers, right? I mean,
Yeah.
do you not understand that evidence exists, but doesn't mean that you can use the evidence? It's like the same guy, the Andrew kid. that we debated, he thinks that Mormons can appeal to Enoch to justify Joseph Smith's knowledge.
Yeah, that's not even a part of their canon. So why? I mean,
Yeah, why are you? I mean, This is the stupidest thing ever.
well, just like Robert Gerd did in the Jay Dyer conversation dialogue, he
Well,
went
I mean,
to he
I
referred to
think
the rabbinic tradition to try
yeah,
and prove
this is
Mormonism.
the same shit, dude. If I'm gonna argue that rabbits can turn into humans, I'm gonna appeal to a cartoon book in which that it happened. This
Yeah, I
is
see what
how
you're saying.
stupid it is. Like they don't understand that if it's not in your worldview, it's not a part of your organization. You can't really appeal to it as it is.
Well, the main problem here, and the thing that we have to really tackle, is these people don't want it to be. Even they may think it may not be true, but they don't care. They don't care if it's true or not. They're not in the truth business.
No,
They're
I
just
mean
not.
if you look at what's funny is if you look at the second clip I have with LJ Sourman, that he thinks that he first said that, oh, we're not actually I'm not here to what did he say? I'm not here to debunk
Yeah, he
orthodoxy.
said he's not here to debunk. I watched that earlier
And then
over again.
the next second is, I was like, well, then why are you debating? And he said,
Yeah,
well, tell me something that would debunk it. I was like, you just said you don't want to debunk it. Do you want to debunk it or not?
exactly. It's
And
like
then he's
that.
like,
He's
well,
like, we're not trying to debate to disprove orthodoxy. Then what's the point of the debate, dude? Like, I don't
and the
understand.
whole point, I'll tell you what, the whole point correlates to when you say they're not in the business of truth. It's that he's saying that, okay, well, he thinks I'm committing a fallacy by saying my paradigm is circular. No, all paradigms are circular.
Correct.
You don't think your paradigm is circular because you have infinite regress,
Right.
which means that you don't have a paradigm. If it's true, bro, you understand that if it's true in my view, it cannot be falsified.
Right.
Like, why would I give anything to you that can falsify it when it's true? If it's
Exactly.
true, it can't be. They're kind of in the liberal mindset that, okay, well, there's half-assed truths. I mean,
Yeah.
there's something that are true. There's something that are not fully true, but that alone doesn't make it true. Like they don't understand. But let me continue and show some of the killings that they were doing, which I find to be quite. So there's other killings. So in 1902, the police and press initially speculated the blood atonement might have been a motive for the New York City Pulitzer murder committed by William Hopper Young, a grandson of Brigham Young. Wow. This speculation was largely fueled by the fact a notebook belonging to Hooper Young had been found at the scene of the crime, the blood atonement. Wow. And supporting scriptural references were scrawled on one of the pages. Like, imagine this is like serial murder shit.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like this is like ritualistic, demonic cult killing. This is why people were calling them cults. It's not that they were just somehow weird like they are today. They were doing cult shit. And if we look at this part, I really want to share with y'all. We're going to talk about blood atonement after Brigham Young. Look at this. Okay, prior to the death of Brigham Young, blood atonement doctrine was taught primarily as means for Mormon covenant breakers. Yes, to pray for their sins, but so if you leave, you will die. This is like some, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to disrespect to summarize, but this is some real cult shit. If you leave, we will track you down and kill you.
Yeah, that's absolutely like Freemasonry shit.
And I don't know if any of y'all seen the video of like the two Mormon talk dudes that got trolled that I reposted by New Name Noah. But here, let's keep reading it. In at least one instance, Herbert C. Kimball suggests, which is one of the leader in early in Latter-day movement, suggests that the principle would apply to the sin of murder. Okay, but after Young's death, blood atonement continued to be taught as necessary means to pay for the sins of adultery. But blood atonement teachings largely ignored the penalty of apostates and lesser covenant breakers and focused primarily on the sin of murder, emphasizing that it was intended to be operated only within the context of legal capital punishment. So we see a change of doctrine. A prophet, Brigham Young, clearly taught. I mean, we see how fast this changed, by the way, right? It changes like literally from a prophet to another prophet. Yeah, I was referring to the two idiots that got trolled by New Name Noah on their Easter show that I reposted. One of the guys, his name is something Kimball. one of those Brett O'Call, and then Carson, the guy Carson O'Kimball in that show. He is directly related to Herbert C. Kimball. I mean, like, do you guys not see? So it's inbreeding. Like, this proves that they're inbreeding. Okay. I'm not even trying to like disrespect them, but Joseph Smith practiced polygamy, not just polygamy, but incest by marrying mother and daughter dual. That's according to Leviticus. If Mormons are so keen on keeping Levitical law, that's incest. And in Mormon missionaries, if you guys would ask them today, here's what they'll tell you. They'll say that, because they're lonely.
Well,
They'll literally say to you because they were lonely, and Joseph Smith didn't actually have sex with them. He just like sealed them to him so they can go to heaven.
that's such a lame excuse.
Maybe saying that shit. I was like, well, and then they're saying a lot of them are like, but the case is not true because most of these people were not lonely. They were married. It's adultery. So, which is funny. So I'll stop sharing and let you continue.
There's a pattern of lame excuses, and it just shows how dishonest a lot of Mormons are. Even they may not even realize it. They may not have the ability to reflect on what they're saying, or they may not later, think about what they're talking about and how they're trying to refute any ideas against Mormonism. But every time that they speak up and they make these lame excuses, it really just digs them deeper and deeper and deeper, and it really just kills. It just kills everything in Mormonism. And
Yeah, I mean,
it's people like
look,
them that give Mormonism a bad name.
so
I
it's a
hope that
guy.
they know that.
Let's run down. Let's run this down. A guy who had, I don't know, who practiced seer glass scamming treasure hunting, who claims he's a prophet, that he went in somewhere and grabbed golden plates that nobody saw and no longer exists. And I mean, there are many first vision accounts. Nobody know who actually came to him. They say Jesus and God the Father, which is nonsense. They say
Right.
Moses. Some says Peter. Some says whoever.
Yeah.
And then there's one that says there's a fucking frog.
Yeah, the frog. Yeah.
And then punched his ass. I mean,
I saw that on Jay Dyer when you were talking about that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I was talking about, and it was screaming and fucking punching his ass. And then this guy, and he translated it, and then people took the book away, told him to retranslate. He retranslated a few times that never looked the same.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like God took the previous plate away from me. I was like, come on. And then you're gonna believe this when he teach polygamy, when the Book of Abraham, which is a fraud, Book of Mormon, all sorts of archaeological bullshit, and the Indians are not. I mean, for a long time, they'll tell you that Indians are not Jews, but they've taught that for like freaking centuries. And all this nonsense, blood atonement, killing people, scamming. Joseph Smith, he actually died, which we're literally going to talk about right now. He died as a cunt. He was arrested for staging a mutiny against the United States government. This is how he died.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is a prophet, and then they say he's a martyr. Okay.
A martyr.
And we're gonna go through right now. I'm gonna let you chime in. We're gonna go through right now the type of martyr he is. But like all this stuff, and then you're gonna follow him. This is a prophet of God. Like, you have to be specially gifted stupid, or I mean, you have to be brainwashed from the moment you were born, dude. I'm surprised that they don't just do the gay baptism for the infants. Like,
it'll happen one day. I guarantee it.
Like, you have anything to chime in before I go into the
yeah, I do actually. Death? I think another thing that we should touch on is a lot of these Mormons, especially younger ones, they're victims because if you think, especially in like Utah and the heavily populated areas, I mean, I know how it works. They're very cliquey, and if they decide, oh, I don't want to be a Mormon anymore, I don't believe it, then you're not only excommunicated from the church in a way, but from your family, from your friends. It's like, these people have no other choice but to kind of believe this. And this is why this is another reason why I call it a cult, because In Orthodoxy, they don't do this. In Roman Catholicism, they don't do this. It's not a popular thing that happens all the time, and it's not reported on all the time by even Protestantism either. I mean, none of that happens in Protestantism, Roman Catholicism, Oriental, or the Eastern tradition. Like, this is a Mormon thing that just happens all the time. And it's just really, it's very common. And I think it's important to bring up that issue uh, with those Mormon people who don't have any other choice, or else they're just done. But at the same time, that's also a part of following Christ, is the sacrifice. And even if that means giving up your mother, your father, or even your wife,
Hmm.
to actually be with Christ, in which is He is the way and the truth and the life. And by knowing the truth, you will know Christ.
Yeah.
So you have to fall in line with God and what He wills for you. And I mean, none of us are doing it perfect, right? I'm not perfect, and I don't always do the will of God. But ultimately, you must do the will of God. So,
Mm.
to any
Now,
Mormons who are going through that situation, definitely you need to consider this.
yeah,
If you have any
I mean,
doubts,
it's definitely difficult, but um, we'll go back to that. So,
yeah,
real quick on how Joseph Smith died. Okay, we're gonna make this comical, and
yeah.
this will show you how the Lord humiliates morons like Joseph Smith. Okay, so they this is after they were captured from staging a mutiny against the state of Utah. Okay, at the time they had many enemies,
Yeah,
mobs that are
definitely.
fighting over territory. So Smith brothers were detained at Carthage jail, waiting trail when an armed mob of 150 200 men stormed the building. Their faces painted black with wet gunpowder.
Wow.
Oh man, this reminds me of like the filthy Frank thing. But Hiram, which is Joseph's brother, was killed almost immediately when he was shot in the face, shouting as he fell, "I'm a dead man." Like,
Wow.
isn't that
That
comical?
is comical. It
Like,
really
who
is.
the hell says that shit when you're
That's
dead?
like something you would see in a Looney Tunes cartoon, bro. I'm not gonna
I'm
lie.
dead. I'm dead. Like, I mean, like, come on, dude. Who, like, when you get shot in the face, the first thing you say is, "I'm dead." Like, bro, like, the only person, well, not even a person would say that. Like, the only character I knew who ever said that was C3PO from Star Wars. I'm
Basically.
dead. Like, this is, yeah, it's totally died as an idiot. After emptying his pistol towards the attacker. By the way, at this part, he had a revolver. There was 6 shots in there. 3 of them were misfire. So maybe that's because he insulted the Trinity, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So Joseph tried to escape from a second-story window, but was shot several times and fell to the ground. So what happened was he trying to jump out of the window. I don't know if there's a picture. Yeah, there. Look at how you see this.
Let me zoom in.
I mean, look.
Yeah.
This is Joseph, right? So I don't know if you guys ever play Warzone.
Yeah.
You play Warzone, how like a guy throw like a smoke grenade in there and then they jump out window and they get clapped.
Yeah.
That's how Joseph died.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, this is humiliating. It should be. It's absolutely humiliating. He got clapped. And is there anything else on it? Nope. I mean, there's barely injury to mobs, and Joseph he just absolutely got clapped. This is what happens when you insult God. When you're a
And
moron, when
deceive
you
so
act.
many people.
Yeah, and then there's R.L. Diaz. In 1928, president of Recognized Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saint R. Diaz and grandson of Joseph Smith feared the rising water from Mississippi were destroyed. Yeah, so this is later on. So these are descendants of Joseph Smith. So currently, the descendants of Joseph Smith and uh, the descendant of Brigham Young, they don't even agree with each other, and they had fights over who's going to take over the church. I mean, look at this is Joseph Smith's face when he died. I mean, look at it. He looks goofy.
Yeah, but another parallel I want to make is that's what happens when you humiliate, or you try to, or you distort God, right? That's what happens. But what happens when you truly follow God is the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Either way, you get him. I mean, think about the apostles. right? And then also think of martyrs like Saint George. I mean, it's the same thing. If you're following God fully, you're going to be humiliated and you're going to be martyred. But if
Yeah.
you do the opposite and you go against God completely and you scam a bunch of people and deceive people, God will humiliate you.
Yeah, what's funny is you can humiliate the true martyrs of God, but they will always be glorious in history.
Yeah,
All these
absolutely.
martyrs were humiliated, but now they're the most glorious people to ever live, even in history.
Yeah, and even most atheists would agree if they would grant you the fact that that
I mean,
happened.
if we look at Saint Philoday, whose icon I just wrote, she was the nun in Athens who protected uh girls that were raped. We have to say that word, raped by
Right.
Muslims, and then they humiliated her in public and beat her to death. But that's one of the most heroic saints that ever lived. And then nobody thinks the humiliation that she suffered and all those things, nobody think those humiliations were humiliations.
Right.
They think those humiliations, the more that they humiliate them, the more amazing they are. So this is the difference between a real martyr and this piece of shit. I mean, how is that martyr? How does that count as? How does someone dying in a gang fight count as a martyrdom? I don't understand this.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean,
Um,
and there's so many theories surrounding that, like who killed him, and honestly, it may have been the
well,
president.
we pretty much know is. I mean, he had a bunch of mobs that hates him. And they just banded together. But
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't even count as a martyr in Islam.
No.
I mean, do they not understand that when a person is killed, he's not automatically martyr? A martyr is like if someone is forcing you to denounce God,
Yeah.
and you
And you don't.
refuse to your last breath, that is called martyrdom. Nobody even, I mean, even granting his tritheism God to be real, nobody even said shit about God.
Right. They just
How is
killed.
he? He's not a martyr. He's a loser that got clapped. He didn't play right. He got clapped in the jail. That's it. That's how he died.
That's it. I mean,
And and,
ultimately.
and he was humiliated when he died. I mean, imagine like jumping out of the window and bing, 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 bing. All these shots just goes off and like
I mean,
absolutely
yeah.
humiliating. Glory to God. So,
Yeah.
do you have
Absolutely.
anything to? So, yeah. So, I think we're kind of. Do you have anything to add? Go ahead.
Well, I think it's important to note that we obviously know that they're relativists. We know that they're really not in the truth business. We can establish this just based on basic interactions, even surface level interactions with excuses, their doctrines, and what they may or may not believe. The the pattern in the church. I mean, sorry, not the pattern, but the division even in the church. Right? It's very subjective. They can believe this. Some people believe that. They may argue. Um, and then you have apologists or bigger internet people who are probably more liberal, like Jacob Hansen, who will
Yeah,
take
Kwaku.
this. Yeah, they'll take this position and argue for it. But this Mormon over here will take that their own position and argue something differently to try to support the church. And it's like, well, what are you really supporting? Are you supporting the church or are you supporting your own made up mysticism? I mean, I don't. There's nothing necessarily consistent with Mormonism. It's just whatever they want to believe, right?
Yeah, and what's funny is that Luigi seems not to understand that.
Yeah, I know.
He's
That's
still looking for like a smart Mormon. Like I'm not debating Robert Gurr because he's retarded. I was like, do you think you're gonna find one that's not?
yeah,
Like you understand that according to LDS theology, every single one of them is a priest. So
yeah.
you can tech every single one of them is absolutely representing the church if he's a priest in the church. So you can debate every one of them. The dumber they are, the better they are. Because I mean, Robert Gurr is determined to personally destroy his own faith. So why not just have him go out? By the way,
And,
anybody who's
yeah.
listening would like to debate the guy who's on Jay who says Joseph Smith is in the Talmud. That's why, and using that to justify him adding himself into Genesis. Please comment below. Uh, and if you would like to debate him, I will host it. I will set it up. Okay, but yeah. Anyways, so I do want to respond to idiots on my previous post. I made like a fun post. I just said calling crusade, right? So I'm obviously not telling you to go fight Mormons, like actually having a fight. There's a guy that commented saying that that's what I'm telling. No, I'm not asking you to harass people. I'm not asking you to calling. If they're in the business of apologetics, yeah, they need to be talked to. They need to be debated. Okay, this is a cult that will not debate you, and that's why you need to take it slowly and have them expose, like I talked about, their own teachings and how stupid they are. Just use follow-up questions, and that's enough to destroy them. Okay, if you don't do that, I mean, look, this is what I'm surprised that people still don't understand. If we look at what happened in Islam, when Islam first came out, nobody gave a shit. They just think these people are lunatics. And what happened after that? You allowed them to grow undisturbed. They become so menacing and savage and disgusting. They killed many Christians and innocent people in the Middle East. And now we have a big piece of cancer on earth. That's the entire Middle East because of them.
Yeah.
And now they're coming to Europe. They're coming to you and I in the United States. So this is what happened. And people are still going, I know it's not going to happen. It's not gonna happen. Yeah, they're just like, a few months. If you're that stupid, don't ever watch my shit again. Don't watch any sort of this stuff, because I hope the attitude, oh, they're not worth my time. That's not very Christ-like. I beg you guys, like, if you're one of these tards in like maybe 10 years, 20 years, when Muslims come knocking on your door to like 50 years old Arab lunatics who ask you to marry your 10 years old daughters, I hope you keep the same fucking Christ-like attitude. Please do. I'm asking you to do that. Okay. And when they cleave your ass, when you deny them, because in Islam you can't deny them actually unless you can give a reason that they're a bad Muslim. So when they cleave your ass and you're bleeding all over the fucking floor, and they drag your daughter and your wives outside of the house, I want you to say that it's not worth my time, because at that moment, you don't have any time to waste. Keep that attitude. Keep that attitude. You think I'm new to Orthodox? Well, I'm an unusual person who had a 2 years old catechism. Not bragging anything. I might be new to Orthodoxy. I'm not new to this geopolitical political shit. I've been debating forever. So all of you, keep that same attitude. Smile when they take your daughters and drag your wives away from your house while you're bleeding and wheezing on the floor. Please do that.
Yeah, let me add on to that. In Islam, it spread so much. And with the way that our country's run now, it's very easy, without any shots being fired, for them to infiltrate this country as well. They could silently infiltrate this country, and actually they have.
Yeah,
we have. Yeah, Ilhan Omar. I mean, she's part of our government now. I mean, they're a part of our government, and they have an agenda. They talk about this, and they could literally silently take over this country. And all it takes is a bunch of sleeper cells to go, you know what? You know what we're going to do? We're going to go to these small towns, and we're going to plant some car bombs, and we're going to hold some hostages inside the school. And once all the cops in the county show up, we're going to detonate those bombs and kill every cop in that area. And they can do whatever the hell they want. I mean, this is stuff that
I posted a video
does.
on like the feeling. They say like when someone say Allahu Akbar and gets blown up, they feel amazing. That's what they say. Like, come on. And we just laid out to you how disgusting and savage Mormonism is. You think, just because they're white and European descent, are you this stupid? You think that if you let this, you're giving them the same leverage as Islam? And what do you think is going to happen in the future? I mean, we're a country with what average 95 IQ. That's pretty freaking low, dude.
Yeah.
You think?
Well, I guess
what
the
will
good
happen
news is
when this
the good news
autism
is that,
takes over?
yeah, the good news is that Mormons are very inconsistent, and they don't really agree with their history, and they actually see it as bad. That's why they make a bunch of excuses about it. So even if there was a majority Mormon, uh, they're probably not going to do what Muslims do, but still, they are still deceiving people, and they're doing honestly something that's even worse than Muslims. They're not just killing you in your flesh, but they're they're heretics. They're promoting heresy, which is going to kill your soul and people around you's soul, and it's going to take away other salvation.
Yeah, and then these idiots they come and comment, which just drive me nuts. They say, "Oh well, there's always going to be more of us." I was like, "No, that's not true, because you live in a liberal
That's not
democracy.
true.
You live in a liberal." So I don't know if I mentioned it in my past video. I'm gonna mention it again here with you. Do they not understand that the people who found this country are liberals? Do they not understand that?
Yeah,
Those people were all liberals in their at their time,
they would be
in their
considered
standards.
conservative now.
I mean, the spirit of this country is rebellion. Anybody trying to set any sort of rule or traditions, somebody or some group are going to just challenge it and take it down. They
Rules are meant to
pride
be broken, man.
themselves. They pride themselves on doing that. So, I mean, consensus? Are you fucking serious? Consensus. You think white majority Christian consensus is going to save this country? This is how stupid these people are.
No, it's not.
Yeah, what happens when you're in a secular humanist country with no, you can say, oh, this is a Christian country, it says God in the freaking constitution. Yeah,
For
so
now.
yeah, well, no, yeah, we will say well, which God is it? Allah or
Yeah,
Hashem?
it can be interpreted as however you want.
It could be Allah, Hashem, or fucking whatever. But the deal is, very soon, well, not even soon, today, who's interpreting that shit today?
Our government.
And they're already ignoring that.
And
People think
who
they
can
have
infiltrate
power.
our government? Who can infiltrate our government? Atheist. Well, first of all, atheists
Anybody,
are. It could be Muslims. It could be anybody, and
right?
that could easily be changed, and the interpretation can be changed, and whatever.
Yeah,
Right.
this is people like yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, the people who the people who established this country are Christians. Okay, some sort of Christian, like Protestants and Puritans.
If you
They
call it
had
lowercase c Christian,
presupposition. I mean, their intelligent their intellect 300 years ago, they had presuppositions on the common value of the people. Okay, there's no such thing as perfect document. They never thought that this spirit were brought a secular bullshit society, but
right?
it's happening, and there are still idiots out here who are saying we are a Christian nation. No, you're not a
No, we're
Christian.
not.
You're not a Christian. You're a secular ape shit nation that's arguably one of the most anti-Christian nations in the West. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about your consensus, buddy. What happens when towns such as in what's it, Pennsylvania, in Texas, that are majority Muslim? Look at what happened to it now.
Detroit.
Yeah. And when these people get elected because they have the consensus, what are you going to do? And we're not going to talk about Muslim a lot today, but it's about Mormons. You think you really think Mormons are going to be better than living under Muslims? Yeah, but they never really bullied us on mass scale. Yeah, so because they never had the chance. Look at because they're so dumb. That's why they're dumber than Islam. I mean, even Sam Shamoun said it. They're dumber than Islam. So, what do you think is going to happen if they get the majority power?
Nothing good.
You
Right.
think you're going to have your land? You're going to have your churches everywhere? Look at their past actions. Everybody else was everybody else are abomination besides from them. Got it? That's their doctrine. It says all churches are abominations. So what do you do to abominations?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, I'll give you time to add on, but we're gonna try to wrap up here. So I got a few videos coming out. One's gonna be on the Ustasis and connection to Ukraine and Roman Catholics.
Okay.
And then I'm doing one on military, especially SIG, Tower. And then I'm gonna have one video. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it without screwing up my channel this early on, but it's gonna be on fruit squeezes. And Alex and I were gonna do another discussion video on in depth on Mormonism. I think I'm tackling some of the racist stuff. And what are you gonna do in that one?
I'm gonna be doing DNA evidence regarding the Lamanites, Nephites, and the Book of Abraham.
Oh yeah, I mean those are common issues, but we're gonna give you guys something else.
It's gonna be a deep dive, though.
Yeah, we're gonna give you guys some insights that other YouTubers don't talk about, and we're gonna that will tie in perfectly with racism. Anything that you want to add before I end it?
No, glory to God.
All right, well, I believe so.
That's all I got.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me end this. Well, I hope you guys have a good day. There we go.